Welcome to the Not Old Better Show Good Housekeeping interview series on radio and podcast. The show covering all things health, wellness, culture, kitchen, cooking, and more. The show for all of us who aren't old, we're better. Each week, we'll interview superstars, experts, and ordinary people doing extraordinary things, all related to this wonderful experience of getting better. Now here's your host, the award-winning Paul Vogelzang.
And thank you. Yeah, and welcome to the Good Housekeeping, Good, Better, Best interview series. I think you're just going to seriously enjoy today's program, especially if you're like me. And sleep is important. How's that for starting out one of our programs? And in particular, your bed may be costing you more money. It may be costing you real rest. We spend nearly a third of our lives asleep, or trying to be, and yet so many of us still wake up sore, overheated, restless, or simply worn out. That affects everything. Your mood, your focus, your patience, even how you show up for the people that you love. So, for Sleep Awareness Month, this episode of the Good Housekeeping, Good, Better, Best interview series asks a question that hits close to home. Are we actually sleeping better? Or are we just getting better at buying the promise of better sleep? Well, today, we're getting answers from two of Good Housekeeping's most trusted product analysts, Grace Wu and Amanda Constantine of the Good Housekeeping Institute's Textiles, Paper, and Apparel Lab. Grace oversees mattress testing and brings a background in materials science, engineering, and fiber science from Cornell University. Amanda tests the bedding we count on every night: sheets, pillowcases, comforters, and more, with deep expertise in textiles and consumer science. Their work draws on lab testing, hands-on reviews, and feedback from real sleepers across the country. So this conversation goes far beyond marketing claims. We're talking mattresses in a box, smart beds that sound almost futuristic, cooling fabrics. Yeah, I love that. I always sleep too hot. Comfort that lasts. And the small changes that can make a real difference. And yes, for anyone living with chronically cold feet, in bed next to them, we may even settle that debate too. This is the Good Housekeeping, Good, Better, Best interview series. Let's get to it. Grace Wu, Amanda Constantine, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Well,
it is great to talk to you, part of our Good Housekeeping, Good, Better, Best interview series. This is National Sleep Month. We're going to talk about mattresses and other things. And so this will be a very fun question. And I want to talk about this idea of the mattress myth. Grace, I'm going to start with you. In my research for our conversation today, I found that you've mentioned that people have been skeptical about this idea of the mattress in a box. And I think that's something that's still a little new to a lot of people, and perhaps very new to my audience. And so I wonder, if we look back over kind of the period of time that the mattress in a box has kind of been a thing with us, what were people missing when they kind of said, well, this is a concept I might be skeptical about. Receiving a mattress in a box might not be the exact thing that's going to keep me comfortable and get me the rest I need, and be emphatic about it. So where are we? Is it a genuine concern, or is it just marketing?
no, definitely. I would say like 12 years ago when we first saw a mattress in a box, it was really about the convenience of being able to buy a mattress online, skip going to the store, laying on all these different things and having to talk to a salesman, go through all this marketing with you trying to upsell you and all of that. And then back then, I would say that the original mattresses in the box were pretty simple. There's mostly like layers of foam encased in a cover, and there's nothing truly special besides that convenience. But because of such boom and interest in being able to buy a mattress online and skip all of this honestly very taxing, time-consuming shopping process, it's become such an innovation in the category. There's been so much innovation in the category. There's more competition. Everyone wants to buy a mattress online now, and everyone wants to skip the store because it's an option, really. And then with that competition, we find like brands are really trying to improve the product, stay relevant. And we're seeing more and more complex mattresses, both in like the materials being used, higher quality, as well as the overall design, having more layers, trying to address all of the concerns that people have about like durability, about sagging, about back pain, and all of that. You can argue in the beginning that some of the innovations are more marketing tactics. And that's always going to be something. But the industry-wide improvements and upgrades to mattresses, I think, are truly, truly super valuable. Right now, like the quality of box mattresses is so much higher than the quality of some of the mattresses you could buy in a store like 20 years ago.
Let's talk about some of the, kind of the marketing kind of words that we hear and
Mhm.
associate with mattresses and mattress shopping and the purchases that go into it. We always hear about support. We
Mhm.
always hear about body kind of alignment.
Mhm.
Pressure relief is a big subject, I know, for many in my audience. What are those terms? What do they really mean in relation to mattress and mattress purchasing? And how do we know really if our mattress is failing us in
Mhm.
regard to some of those areas?
No, that's such a great question. I think regardless of whether we have any chronic pain, we all need a balance in our mattress of both like support and pressure relief to achieve neutral alignment. So you never really want to feel like you're going against a natural curve of your body in bed because that can create a strain on your body, aggregate your pressure points. So I think of pressure relief as sort of like sufficient give while the support adds necessary stability to have your body stay in like a comfortable position. Because ultimately, regardless of your sleeping position, you're not a rectangle. You're going to need support in different areas. Especially like,
You're not a rectangle.
no, seriously, especially if you're a side
Yeah,
sleeper.
that's true.
You know,
It's a good point.
when
Yeah,
you sleep
yeah.
on your side, you need like a little bit more give for your hips and your shoulders. And often we find that like a too firm mattress for a side sleeper can result in hip pain, which I think is, like, major, and knowing, like, when your mattress is failing you, I think there are key things you have to look for, like structure, stability, like, support, and all of that. If you're constantly waking up in pain, it's probably not a good fit for you, but you're also seeing, like, sagging, you're seeing, like, the product doesn't look like it should. You might wanna take a step back, reevaluate your situation, see, like, "Oh, does this mean, like, I need to get a topper? To fix for a temporary fix, or is this like a mattress I've had for like 10 years and maybe it's really time for a new one?"
I always appreciate Good Housekeeping Institute's focus on metrics. I kind of come at things from that perspective. Many of my audience like to have that that data point, but there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of myth out there, and I know the Good Housekeeping Institute has tested over 200 mattresses. That is a lot, and then surveying over 10,000 sleepers and owners of mattresses. So, what do you think the biggest disconnect is between what we all kind of think of about, what we need in a good mattress and then what actually really helps us sleep better?
I think it's really rare that we come across a sleeper who truly knows what they want from their bed, which is kind of
Hmm.
crazy because
Mhm.
in our beds every single night for hours at a time. Um, but I think that sleepers really struggle to find the right firmness level. So they often will be presented with the most popular option, like a mattress brand will say, "This is our best seller. This is what most people love." And so they decide to choose a mattress that everyone else likes instead of thinking about their own sleep habits. And this is something I learned from personal experience. I'm a side sleeper, so I truly need a softer mattress. And I opted for a medium firm feel because that was the popular option that everyone else was buying and loved. And ultimately, it wasn't a good fit for me. So I think choosing the right firmness level is just so important. And it's really important to consider the position you're sleeping in, how much you weigh when it comes to choosing the firmness level. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also a lot of people, including our testers, it's very common. there's a disconnect that firm automatically equals support, like Amanda had mentioned. Everyone thinks medium firm's good because that gives me the support I need, but it's not so firm that it's uncomfortable. But really, you don't want to give your body more work during what's meant to be a period of rest.
Tell us a little bit about kind of the inner workings of a mattress, because we hear about, more terms to throw at you. We hear about the hybrid mattress. We hear about the
Mhm,
all foam. We hear about the inner spring mattress. And I know, Grace, from my
mhm.
research, you've slept on a lot of those, and even a $10,000 mattress that has got to be the pinnacle of mattress sleep. I would imagine the smart bed. What's the difference between some of those in terms of performance and
Mhm.
sleep quality? Can we feel that?
Yeah, so I guess we can start off with the definition of all foam and inner spring. Inner spring is more of your traditional coil mattress, so it's primarily full of springs. Right now, most inner spring mattresses have pocketed springs with minimal layers of foam. It's a bit harder to find nowadays outside of your traditional, mattress store, and you likely won't find boxed inner springs, versus all foam really comes to us from the, huge boom of memory foam in mattresses. You see it in a ton of mattresses in a box because it's so much easier to compress and have it, reform within, once it's open. A hybrid mattress kind of has both components. It does have coils, for more of that airflow, more of that traditional bouncy mattress feel, but on top it'll have substantial layers of foam. It can really fall into two categories depending on what a brand defines as a hybrid. So you can have a hybrid that's more of that super cushy sink-in memory foam, or you can have a hybrid that's a bit more pillowy, a bit more of a lifted feel, but still have a bit of the pressure relief you really want from memory foam. And to me, it's genuinely a matter of personal preference because a lot of it is the initial texture of your bed. And I always think that people are so concentrated on finding the best product, but if it's something that a lot of people like, but you're not gonna like, you're not gonna be able to fall asleep. For us, the most part, it's making sure that the build of the mattress is good because there are also mattresses that are better designed than a lot of hybrids and a lot of inner springs. So the initial texture, I think a lot of people need to think about if they like to sink in, if they like more of a bounce back. Um, Although I will say hybrid mattresses, most popular nowadays, just because they do strike that balance between cushy foam and supportive coils. And they typically perform the best in our tests because of that. On price point, I do think that there are diminishing returns, not going necessarily into smart beds, but purely on within the same category of mattresses. We see a ton of super tall luxury mattresses launch nowadays, and they have so many different layers. But there's a point when things become to get over engineered rather than efficiently designed.
Amanda, I want to talk about another category, and that is, as Grace just referred to, the smart bed. It sounds so futuristic and, maybe just has so much potential for us, maybe a bit dystopian. So I wonder, after a year of sleeping on a smart bed, what would we find it to be generally helpful and genuinely a benefit to us, and what's just tech?
Yeah, my bed is very crazy. It is a little and weird. And everyone's always taken aback when they find out what it can do and the price point. The mattress I'm on is around $14,000 for a king size between the bed and the base, which is a bit out. Um, but I have found some good benefits from sleeping on this for a year. I found out that I'm actually snoring quite a bit more than I ever knew. So I sleep with my husband. He's a heavy sleeper. And he said that I snored, but I didn't know the extent to which I was snoring. But now I understand that I have many breath disturbances while I'm sleeping and I snore a lot. So I've taken all of these sleep studies kind of from my bed and I'm taking them to the doctor and now I have this proof hey, I'm not breathing very well at night. So I think that's really going to benefit me in terms of my health and hopefully I wake up feeling better rested. I also get acid reflux and so just having the ability to raise the head of the bed up while I'm getting ready to go to sleep after I take my medication. I think that really helps to mitigate some of my symptoms. Um, and my favorite part is the cooling feature. So, memory foam is what the bed's made out of primarily, and memory foam is notorious for trapping heat. So, it can feel really warm if you're a hot sleeper, but this bed has kind of like an air conditioner system built into it. So, air flows throughout the mattress, keeping it cool, and then it helps me to feel cool. It's really crazy. Um, I think when it comes to tech for tech's sake, I guess it's not just for tech's sake, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement in the world of sleep tracking. Like my bed knows every movement that I'm making at night,
Uh-huh.
but it's not always understanding them completely. So I wake up a lot in the middle of the night and will just lie there trying to fall back asleep. But my bed registers that as me having deep sleep because I'm not moving. So I think there's room for improvement when it comes to sleep tracking. It's become more accurate, like testing or tracking me over the last year, but I definitely think there's a way for it to progress.
We've heard the promise: cooler sleep, smarter beds, better support, better mornings. But here's where this conversation gets really interesting. What survives the lab, the long-term testing, and the brutally honest feedback of real sleepers? Because the sleep industry is full of big claims. Grace Wu and Amanda Constantine are here to separate the science from the sales pitch. Still ahead, we get into the upgrades that truly matter, the features that sound impressive but may not change a thing, and the small bedding that makes a big difference and can turn a restless night into real rest. We'll also get their take on smart beds, mattresses in a box. That evolution has been amazing. And one very human question that starts a surprising number of household debates. What do you do when one person is cozy and the other has freezing feet? Yep, that one's personal. So don't go anywhere. The most useful part of this conversation is coming up next. Amanda Constantine and Grace Wu are our guests today. Both are with Good Housekeeping Institute's Textiles, Paper, and Apparel Lab, reporting, testing, doing some fascinating work. And Amanda, it was really great to hear you tell us a little bit about smart beds. And you mentioned the cooling aspect of the mattress. And so I want to talk about some of the upgrades that truly matter, particularly this idea of a cooling. Do I take that to be a topper? Is that what that is? Are there other, aspects that I need to be familiar with? For example, I found out about a little about breathable foam, and I wondered if you've comment on that. Moisture wicking sheets. How much temperature regulation really goes on and is part of the science there, or is it just something that is just kind of bunk?
I mean, cooling within bedding, within mattresses has become such a buzzword to the point where we don't really know what it means, but we
Yeah.
do know that there are so many hot
Hmm.
sleepers, there are so many people who have night sweats. So I think it depends on the type of sleeper you are, like the level of cooling you'll need. But the way cooling functions depends product to product, because there's different like levels of cooling or temperature regulation. A lot of products we've tested have a cool to the touch feel, which is kind of like an instantly gratifying experience, right? For some sleepers, you just want to feel like icy cold, and that's enough for you to fall asleep. Other products will promise to wick away moisture, which means like for someone with night sweats, it'll literally absorb your sweat, pull it out, and quickly spread it on the other side so it can quickly dry away from your skin. Or for something like a pillow or a mattress, there's technology that'll pull heat away from you to an inner layer of that mattress or pillow. The most effective cooling tech that we've seen tends to be phase change materials or continuous smart cooling, like in Amanda's $14,000 smart bed. Um, but it's hard to say because there's so much within cooling. So you have to think about like what you need and what's practical for you versus what's like extra. There's also a lot of products that I think are underrated and that they're optimized for breathability and rely on airflow to help naturally regulate your temperature.
If someone doesn't have $14,000 in their budget for a mattress, but maybe
Mhm.
it falls a little bit, short of
Mhm.
that, what's a good first step? What's kind of the smartest place to invest first? Is it buying good sheets? Is it pillows, comforter? Will that compensate for kind of a mediocre mattress? What do you guys think?
I I think if you have a mediocre mattress, whether it's old and it's
Yeah.
sagging or you bought the wrong firmness level like I did, the best place to start is with the topper. The topper can totally transform the feel of your bed. So it can create an even sleeping surface if your bed is dipping in the middle. It can also make it much softer and relieve pain around your hips and your shoulders if that's something you're experiencing. But there are toppers that come at a multitude of price points. So I think it's very important to be mindful when you're topper shopping because there are some toppers that can cost just as much as some of our best value mattresses. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Um, and then I think after topper, move on to other things that really help with support while you're sleeping. So a good pillow can make a huge difference with your head and neck. And then moving on to things like getting new sheets, getting your comforter, something that's a little more about the feel than it is about the position you're sleeping in.
Tell us a little bit about this idea of kind of motion isolation. I love that topic. My wife and I are. I think if someone were to view us, if we videoed some of that activity during the night, both of us would be tossing and turning and moving all over the bed. So motion isolation strikes me as something that might be very beneficial for some couples and partners out there. So I'm always curious, though, about how Good Housekeeping Institute tests for some of those kinds of things. Do you just find that jumping up and down on the bed gives you the best, kind of metric for understanding motion isolation and even edge support? What are those and how do they work?
Yeah. So I think motion isolation when it comes to sleeping with a partner is it's so important, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Also, am constantly tossing and turning and accidentally kicking my husband while I but motion isolation is your mattress, the material on your mattress being able to absorb some of that energy from the movement and prevent it from transferring from you to your partner. So if they're tossing and turning or you're tossing and turning, it's not going to move across the bed and impact them. Um, I think when it comes to testing, we see a lot of brands highlighting like jumping on the bed, making sure a ball doesn't roll across, which is a great visual example of how motion isolation works, but it doesn't really give you long-term data about how it's working night to night. So in the Good Housekeeping Institute Textiles Lab, we share a lot of bedding products like our mattresses with at-home sleep testers. So these sleep testers are given this mattress. They sleep on it for months. We ask them to fill out a survey talking about their sleep experience. And then we're able to gain feedback from did they actually feel its motion isolating abilities? Was it bouncy? Did they notice their pet jumping on the bed at night? I think it gives us like more in-depth feedback than just jumping on the bed would. But that sounds fun.
It does sound.
No, and then we also survey like 10,000 mattress owners, right? And they'll also note if motion isolation is like core to them, if it's something that they've noticed. But I think what we really stress is that the issues of like motion isolation and edge support, these are vital, but to a certain extent, we get diminishing returns, right? Like how much motion isolating do you really need something to be?
So the 2026 Betting Awards are now in the books, and I wondered if you guys would talk. Grace, perhaps start us off and tell us a little bit about the awards because 300 products were evaluated. 800, I read 800 kind of at-home sleep testers joined in on this process. That's an enormous undertaking. So what surprised you about the winners this year? And were there any underdogs that just outperformed some of the luxury brands that you could tell us about?
Yeah, definitely. Every year we test hundreds of bedding awards as part of our annual bedding awards program. We do both in-lab testing as well as at-home consumer testing, like you mentioned. It's truly labor of love, and then you get to see there's so many different interesting directions that the industry's gone. You've seen like a lot of luxury brands just lean into more of, like over-engineered, like specific like zone coils when it comes to mattresses. Everything's really meant to, like, stand out in the field of bedding. It's gotten so competitive. I would say, like, what surprises me year over year is sometimes the most successful products, especially within mattresses, because I've mentioned that they're so over-engineered now, can be some of the most simple. Like, the most, like, innovative to me are that Sealy, which is, like, a time-honored brand, right? They were one of the first brands this year I've seen to, like, really invest in coil technology versus every brand has been thinking about, "How can we make this new foam or that new foam or layer it in this way and that way to make, like to do this and that," versus Sealy kind of focused on, like, a unique, like, coil-specific technology. So it's a feat of engineering. But we also have mattresses like this foam mattress from Nola that year over year does the best amongst all of our testers who have back pain. Without fail, we always send it to someone with chronic pain or in someone who doesn't have chronic pain, and it gets positive feedback every time. But the people with chronic pain are like, "I have never been so skeptical that a mattress could do anything, but I have to give it to
Uh,
this mattress."
And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, please.
what surprises
Yeah.
me usually
Yeah.
is the underdog for me is the item that doesn't cost that much. That's outperforming something 4 times its price.
Yeah.
So I think this year we have California Design Den sheets. They're sateen sheets that are priced around $50, but usually on sale for less. They performed well for durability and pilling in the lab. They did great in wash test. They were also a hit with consumer testers. They received high softness scores. So they were just great across the board and outperformed sheets that cost like 4 or 5 times the price.
I think even that costs, like, 10 times the price this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big gaps.
Yes.
Big gaps.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for you that's not technically bedding, and it's a little personalized, so just indulge me a little bit. But my wife has very cold feet.
Mhm.
And if someone's partner just has freezing feet year round, we've talked about, cool mattresses. How do we compensate for kind of cold feet? Is it something that the mattress can do? Better sheets, blankets, or are there socks that you guys might recommend? It's kind of a question for both of you here to wrap up.
Yeah, I think your body temperature overall is very important, and so I think
Yeah.
important to invest in a pair of pajamas first and foremost that are going to work for you. If you're
Hmm.
a hot sleeper like I am, there are pajamas that are specifically designed to help with moisture wicking and temperature regulation, just like your sheets or your mattress. So that's touching your skin and can make a huge difference. And your temperature throughout the night can help you to not feel sweaty. If someone's cold, opt for like a knit fleece or a flannel. They have these fuzzy fibers on them that are brushed that are going to trap your body heat and make you feel warmer. And then with socks, I can touch on it a little bit, but Grace can get into more detail. I really recommend a merino wool. Maybe Grace can explain the benefits of that.
Yeah,
Please,
no,
Grace. Yeah.
I'd say, like, merino wool, like, wool is one of the few fibers that have inherent temperature regulation, so they'll help keep you at a comfortable body temperature, but it has a bad rap of being, like, super scratchy and uncomfortable, especially while you sleep. Merino wool is a very, like, luxe, thin wool, so it's not scratchy, it's very smooth, it's very popular when it comes to hiking socks or, like, really warm socks, things that you have to wear in the winter, something that will really keep you warm. And when it comes to socks, like, for warmth specifically, fiber content is only really half the story. Part of it is, like Amanda said, like, looking for things that are constructed to keep you warm, designed a certain way. So something that's a bit more of, like, a fuzzy sock will keep you warm because it has those, more, like, napped napped surfaces to, like, trap heat. A thicker sock will not trap heat purely because of its thickness, but typically because it has pile on the inside, and those loops will help trap in some more heat.
Well, Grace Wu, Amanda, Constantine, thank you guys so much on a Friday afternoon for joining us. I really appreciate it for our good, better, best audience. Hope you guys have a wonderful, restful weekend. And please come back. Talk to us again. I know our audience is going to be just very, very interested in the subject of sleep, as we all are.
Awesome. Thank you for having us, Paul.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Ignore bad sleep long enough, and it starts making choices for you. How patient you are, how clearly you think, how well you recover, even how you show up for the people you love. That's what makes this conversation with Grace Wu and Amanda Constantine more than a discussion about mattresses and bedding. It's a conversation about daily life, from boxed beds and cooling claims to smart features and simple comfort fixes. Today's takeaway is clear. Better sleep is rarely about hype. It's about what truly works for your body, your habits, and your home. The sleep industry can sell a dream, absolutely, but real rest comes from honest testing, good materials, and choices that solve real problems: pressure points, overheating, motion transfer, cold feet, and those long nights that leave you tired before the day even begins. So maybe the question to carry with you today and for tonight is this: what in your sleep setup is helping you, and what have you simply learned to tolerate? Our thanks to Good Housekeeping's analysts Grace Wu, Amanda Constantine, and their team from the Good Housekeeping Institute for bringing science, clarity, and straight answers to a subject that touches every part of health and happiness. Happy Good Sleep Month. This has been the Good Housekeeping Good, Better, Best interview series. Rest matters. Sleep well. Be well. Let's talk about better. The Not Old Better Show on radio and podcast and on video now too. And we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.